In sport, Kenyan runner Hilary Yego won the 31st Athens Classic Marathon on Sunday amid a festive atmosphere across the authentic course. Yego crossed the finish line at the Panathinaik Stadium in Athens with a time of 2 hours, 13 minutes and 50 seconds. This, however, did not break the record held by Italian Stefano Baldini since the 2004 Athens Olympic Games, but has, however, improved his personal best. Yego's compatriots Kimeli Dixon finished the race second after clocking 2 hours, 14 minutes and 40 seconds, while another Kenyan, Ruto David Kiprori, was third position. In the women's marathon, Kenyan Nancy Rotich won, clocking 2 hours, 41 minutes and 38 seconds, followed by Ukrainian Stanko Svitlana, who finished second, while Greek athlete Magda Gazia was third. Now, the match between Egypt's Al Ahly and South Africa's Orlando Pirates is currently underway, with Al Ahly leading 1-0. Now, both teams are out to write their versions of history as they clash in the CAF Champions League. Al Ahly, who are the defending champions, are seeking an 8th African club title. The hosts are also hoping to pick their second back-to-back title. Pirates, on the other hand, are looking to add to their sole club title, which was won 18 years ago. The two teams are on even terms going into the final after a 1-1 draw in the first leg. They've met 3 times this season, with Pirates enjoying the better record. They beat Ahly 3-0 the last time the two sides met in Egypt. And this time, though, Ahly have the backing of a strong home crowd, after security forces said fans will be allowed back into the stadium after a 2-year absence. Africa had a lot to celebrate at last year's Olympic Games, but have you ever wondered what happens to some of the athletes when time is called on their career? Anyway, from the limelight, some athletes struggle with depression, financial trouble and substance abuse. Well, help is now at hand, as our correspondent Dan Williams found out.
For the 2020 games, so you look after that.
Preparing for life after sport. Some of Africa's brightest athletes were among those to attend the latest Athletes Career Programme. The initiative is backed by the IOC, and it aims to help Olympic and Paralympic athletes make the transition from the field of play to the labour market. Launched in 2005, the project was set up when it became clear that many athletes struggle to adjust once competition ends.
All athletes will retire from sport at an early age. Almost none of them will be financially secure. I personally have known an athlete that committed suicide at one point after it was over. I know those that don't have the energy to get up and fight for what comes next.
Athletes from the USA and Europe do at least have a number of locally based charities and organisations to fall back on. But that's not so much the case across Africa, where often such resources are scarce.
In Africa, we had a lot of problems with athletes when they finish a career. They don't plan anything, and after when they finish, they don't know what direction they're gonna go to find a job. We try to educate the athletes. We try to talk to our leaders. You know, for the career is very important, but after career is also important.
That's a view echoed by IOC member and 4-time Olympic silver medalist Frankie Fredericks. The Namibian also attended the workshop to give the athletes guidance and advice. He feels far too many sports stars only focus on the training with no concern as to what happens next.
As an athlete, you need to prepare yourself. Take it aboard on yourself. You have 24 hours in a day. Make sure that you combine your sports. If your sports take 2 to 3 hours, you have to eat, you have to rest. Then you have enough time to study. Make sure that you get the education, because education is the key that will open a lot of doors to a bright and successful future.
This workshop in Johannesburg included members of South Africa's Olympic gold medal rowing team, as well as 7-time Olympic medalist Zimbabwean Kirsty Coventry.
We take notice of the traits that get us to that goal, but then I think we have a hard time recognizing those traits in a business sense of how, okay, I persevered through that, but how could that be valuable in a corporate world, in the business world?
As important as this programme is, organisers are aware that much more needs to be done to help elite athletes make the transition from competition to career. But for those who attended these workshops, they did at least gain focus and direction, and that on its own can only be a good thing. Dan Williams, CCTV, Johannesburg.